Okay, these are some important flashes coming in on your screen. It's actually an exclusive. The US FDA has spoken to CNBC TV18 talking about the increase in the number of foreign inspections that we have seen from the US FDA on many of the Indian pharmaceutical companies' facilities. On ranbaxy particularly, this is important. The US FDA says that they have no evidence of data reliability issues at facilities other than Paonta Sahib, Batamandi and Devas. Remember, a couple of days ago, there was a big knock on the ranbaxy stock on the possibility of the Mohali plant coming under the US FDA scanner as well. But for now, the US FDA tells CNBC TV18 that ranbaxy's 2 manufacturing plants remain under an ongoing review, but they have no evidence of data reliability issues at facilities other than Paonta Sahib and Devas. Do you think this would come as a relief to ranbaxy?
Yeah, it would possibly act as a relief for ranbaxy. Maybe the stock should come up for you up around 0.7%. Like you mentioned, the Mohali plant was actually quite important in terms of any sort of US FDA issues coming up for that one. There were talks that maybe there would be a 483 which was issued on ranbaxy sometime back on the Mohali plant, and if in case the US FDA itself has clarified that they have no evidence of data reliability issues at facilities other than Paonta Sahib, Batamandi and Devas, then that would come in as a huge relief rally for ranbaxy, because that was one of the key overhangs for the stock, and you can see the stock spiking up at this point in time. The stock is currently up around 2%. They do mention that besides Gloversville, no evidence of significant CGMP violations at other ranbaxy or OM facilities. Remember, OM facilities is very important for ranbaxy as well, and ranbaxy's 2 manufacturing plants remain under ongoing review at this point in time. Maybe we need to get more clarity in terms of which 2 manufacturing plants they're talking about at this point. But this is important data points coming in for ranbaxy, that no, maybe the Mohali plant does not have a 483 from the US FDA.
In fact, the stock as well, Ekta, is up about 2%. Yeah. A couple of days ago, the Supreme Court had also dismissed the plea against ranbaxy.
But that was
so there was a bit of a relief.
Yeah, but that wasn't really relevant. The biggest issue for ranbaxy was actually the US FDA issues, and whether or not the Mohali plant would get affected by US FDA issues. So if in case it did, then that would have been a big sentiment negative, and it seems like maybe it is not the case for ranbaxy.
In fact, there are some more comments as well where the US FDA says that they will explore opportunities or they will increase the number of foreign inspections in the Indian markets. Remember, a whole host of other companies like Wockhardt, etc., have also been downbeat because of the US FDA inspections on a variety of their facilities. But for now, ranbaxy is reacting. Amisha, you track this stock. How have you read all the news flow and this, at least interim relief that we're getting in terms of the US FDA perhaps not looking at inspecting the other facility like Mohali?
I think this clarification on Mohali is very important. Though our discussion with company did reveal that they have not seen any such information from US FDA, but a clarification to markets in general is very positive, because Lipitor is also being sent from here, and some of the other important products which are their first to file like Diovan also would not get now impacted, because there is clarity that Mohali works as it is. And Dows and Paonta Sahib will continue to be under vigilance or inspection or whatever as per the consent decree filed by them, which is, and the paid $500 million fine also. So I would think that it is telling that it is absolutely status quo and there is no negative development. Though of course the stock price has reacted extremely negatively in last 1.5 months through a lot of media and news reports. But to me, it suggests that there is absolutely no negative development. And in case, as what we've been hearing, or rather expecting for a very long time, Diovan to be launched, which is one of the exclusivity product which has got delayed substantially. In case that comes, that would be even further positive, because one is expecting more than $500 million kind of contribution from that product.
Absolutely. Maybe the clarity on Diovan would now emerge, or Diovan generic for ranbaxy would emerge with this clarification, like Amisha said. So ranbaxy is currently spiking up around 3.7% currently for that stock. Important clarifications coming in from the US FDA that maybe they will not be looking at, or maybe there is no 483 which has been issued to the Mohali plant at this point. The stock is currently up around 3.4%. Mr. Tulsian, what would your perspective be on this? Do you think that this is enough for ranbaxy to get back to those 400 plus levels that it was trading at firmly?
See, Ekta, in fact, too many negative news have really made the stock to see a lot of shorts getting built up, and even the under ownership has happened in the stock because people were really very much worried. And I think the worry started more when the Indian pharmacies have stopped selling their products, because we all knew about their concerns of the US FDA on their 2 plants. So I think that now, yes, the confidence will come back. Maybe one can say that the 300 level has been tested as a good support, no more negative. So once these kind of news comes in, which we have seen in fact, maybe in this last 2-3 days, 2-3 positive news coming in favor of the company, definitely the shorts will start getting covered, and that will be a big boost for the stock to move up. And I'm not sure about the renewed buying coming back into the stock. So taking that into consideration, slight or maybe some renewed buying coming back coupled with the short covering, one should expect a level of 370 to 375, maybe probably in next 1 month or so.
Okay, so 5% up move or 6.5% now on that stock. Like Mr. Tulsian was saying, there's a huge amount of short positions built up. So you're seeing that squeeze on the upside. But just before we go to Archana to get more details on this, a word on the markets as well. Now the markets have started to move lower. So it's a 0.7% cut that the index is seeing. 5850 is where the Nifty is. So just holding on to that level. And we're seeing Europe decelerate further. So the European markets are down almost 1%. In fact, Germany is down 1% plus. So just watch out for the screen while we talk about individual stocks. Archana is here. She'll give us more details on what the US FDA has said to CNBC TV18 and the implications for ranbaxy, which is one of the biggest gainers now. Archana, over to you.
Yes, almost after a month that we approached US FDA, they've come back with responses to CNBC TV18, and they have categorically said that apart from the 3 units, which is Bata Mandi, Ponta Sahib and Devas, there have not been any significant deviations from CGMP guidelines that US FDA sets for companies to follow, those companies that sell products in the US market. They've also said that it was only the Gloversville plant in the US, which was part of the OM facilities, which was where a lot of CGMP violations were seen, and besides that, none of the plants of ranbaxy as well as OM laboratories have seen significant violations from CGMP guidelines. Also, while not directly commenting on the Mohali facility inspections, they said they would not want to comment on any investigation that they do with the on Indian plants, because that is confidential information. But they did say that US FDA does go ahead and do inspectional investigations in the company's plants, as ranbaxy as well as other companies' plants on a regular basis, and they may come out with violations, they may come out with certain deviations which the company going forward would confide to and would improve on their standards. They also pointed out, when talking about the Indian generics market as a whole, they said that the number of investigations and number of inspections that US FDA does on Indian plants has gone up fairly, because the number of plants that are registered with the US FDA have gone up. And this is one contributing factor why we are currently seeing a large number of violations by the Indian manufacturing. So that in a way is not a direct hit on the Indian generics facilities, Indian generic manufacturers, but just to say that just because there are too many plants which are now US FDA registered, too many plants that actually supply drugs into the US market, and inspections have gone up, which is why violations have gone up. So that would include companies like ranbaxy, that would include companies like Aurobindo Pharma, Wockhardt, which have recently seen violations. They've seen import alerts by the US FDA on their plants. They've also said that they remain confident that most of the Indian companies follow US FDA standards and regulations. The growing share of Indian companies in the US market is a fair indication and an ample evidence that companies have the capability to comply to US FDA standards and regulations. They've also said that they are going to increase their activities in India. They have got an additional approval to add 7 more drug inspectors in India. They're also exploring an opportunity to open a 3rd office in Hyderabad. They currently have offices in Delhi and Mumbai. And so the staff positions in India would go up from 12 to 19. Remember, this would be the 2nd country outside of India, apart from China, that would have so many drug inspectors and an office by the US FDA. So obviously all this shows that US FDA is looking at a stronger foothold in India because they want to collaborate more with the Indian drug regulators and also keep a keen watch on all the drug manufacturers in India that import drugs to the US market. Back to you.
Thanks, Archana, for that. Absolutely. Ranbaxy is currently showing an uptake of around 8% and possibly the reason why Archana pointed out is that they want to increase the number of offices or the number of people deployed in India simply because of the volume of US FDA approved sites has increased itself within the Indian market. So that's possibly why they want to do that. But Ranbaxy is the star in trade. That stock is currently up around 7.5%. Amisha, coming back to the markets then, July is going to be